Ich hab Bock. Ja, ich habe meine Momente. So. Jetzt weiß ich nicht, was ich darauf antworten soll. Äh, ähm, ja, habe ich ja schon mal. Das Normale habe ich schon mal gespielt. Aber ich weiß nicht, was das verändert jetzt. Ich habe es schon mal gespielt, ja. Okay. Der Computer gerade noch so sichtbar. Man muss das immer ein bisschen für den Stream machen. Oh. Oh. Ja, tut mir leid. Scheiße. Ah, ist heute rausgekommen. Ich konnte nicht anders. Grad 'ne E-Mail gekriegt. Äh, ja, ich auch, bis ich eben vor 'ner Stunde die E-Mail gekriegt habe, dass das Spiel rausgekommen ist. Äh, da, hat's mich zu sehr gejuckt, also im Finger, ne, im Bestellfinger. Ja, so ist das manchmal. Und unverhofft kommt oft. Dann nu. Ich bestätige hier trotzdem jetzt. Ich fange mal einfach an. Oh, äh, oh, gibt's nur 12? So, AM und PM, ne? PM. Bin mal gespannt. 8. Guck mal, wie sehr ist denn? Ja, ist gleich 9. Äh, warum nimmt er nicht die einfach die darf er nicht wahrscheinlich, ne? Dass er sich die Computerzeit nimmt? Ich bin mal gespannt, was jetzt passiert. Ach so. Ja, okay. Was sagt die Lautstärke? Was sagt ihr jetzt? Ist sie gerade weg, ist mir schon klar. Ähm, grade angenehm. Gut, dann lasse ich das hier so immer, wenn ich aus dem Fenster rausklicke, dann ist es kurz weg. Ja, wir schauen einfach mal. Ansonsten machen wir's gleich wieder 'n bisschen leiser. Leiser Minelli. Mhm. Ja, machen wir einfach mal. Oh, okay. Verstehe ich. Dann wünsche ich dir noch 'n schönen Abend, Nico. Hat mich aber trotzdem gefreut, dass du da warst. Dann, freue ich mich, das aber vielleicht bei dir mal in einem Let's Play oder in einem Stream zu sehen. Vielleicht irgendwann. Das würde mich sehr interessieren. Das würde mich total freuen. Da wäre ich echt gespannt drauf. Ich glaube, sowas kannst du gut. Wenn mit so ein paar Reisetabletten geht das alles bestimmt. Ja. Okay, ich fang mal an. Ja, mal schauen, mal schauen. Ich bin sehr gespannt. Ich hab keinen Plan. Dann mach's gut, ne, Nico. Ich wünsche dir alles Gute. Pass auf dich auf, ne? So, wir gehen jetzt mal in das Spiel rein.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Na, soweit noch
No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Hi.
Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Wie ist der Ton jetzt bei dem, mit dem Erzähler und sowas? Beim Ausschlag wirkt der relativ laut, aber ich weiß jetzt nicht, wie es wirklich rüberkommt. Super. Gut. Alles klar, dann mache ich ihn für mich nur mal ein bisschen leiser, weil der ist relativ laut wieder. Viele sind immer relativ alt. Immer relativ laut auf dem Ohr irgendwie. So. Ja, dann bleiben wir noch ein bisschen drin, ne? Wie sonst auch immer. Mm. Oh. Hallo. Ich weiß nicht, was du meinst. Haben wir denn hier ein paar interessante Sachen? Ja, aber nicht ganz richtig, meinst du? Ich bleib hier drinne. F1 für Respekt drücken. Ist auch, das passiert aber nichts, ne? Kann ich ducken? Nee, nur springen. Und mich bewegen und gucken. F1. Ja, F1. Respekt. G814. GA drücken. Wird aber ein bisschen schwierig. Denn hier noch irgendwelche interessanten Sachen. Und vor allem, was ist Ultra Deluxe? Ich bin mal gespannt. Oh, wisst ihr, was das ist? Wisst ihr denn, was das hier ist? Der kleine, hier, das ist so ein Nistkasten. Ne, da kommen Vögel rein. Und so. Und dann machen die kleine Vögel, legen Eier und dann so fliegen die raus wieder. Ne? Ja, da fliegt dann der Herrvogel rein. Und der ist dann ganz spitzi auf die Frau Vogel. Das ist ja eine stellwillige Unterbösung, ist das gerade. Wie immer von Ihnen, Frau Land. Unglaublich. Ich gehe raus. Hallo. Ja, da, hier ist auch keiner. Geh da rein. Alles zu?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Hey.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Memo. Was? Du guckst lustig. Einige haben auch nur ein Auge. Schöne. Hallo. Ich hasse Montag. Ja, Montag ist auch nicht so toll.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Nistkasten schon wieder. Nistkasten. Viele Nistkästen. Ah, und alles. Ich finde das schön, dass das alles Wählscheiben sind. Wer hat gefurzt? Ja, Gosa, der stinke gepupse Gosa, ich weiß. Ja. Pflänzchen, klein, stand allein. Number one dead. Schön. Kopierer. Hier, guck mal, ne? Das lassen die immer so auf 7:30 stehen. Hier, den sollen wir eigentlich zumachen wieder. Hallo.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Nummer 50. Dann machen wir das so.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Okay. Die 1,7.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Okay. 4, 3, 7. Nee, da nicht.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
4, 1, 1, 5. Moment. 4, 1, 5. Okay. 4, 16.
Now, back to door number 437.
Ja, ich gehe schon. 437. Ich hab wieder... Wo ist denn 437? Ja.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Okay, der Kopierer.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Ja, 417. Klar, Chef. Gerne, Chef. Ja.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
416. 417? 4,
We've almost got it!
Juhu.
Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Jawoll! Kopierer.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes!
Jawohl!
We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now? What were you thinking?
Ich habe gerade ein Achievement bekommen. Klicke 5-mal auf Tür 430. Ah, schön. Das war aber nicht dabei bisher. Finde ich gut. Das ist schön. Ach, guck mal. Ist aber auch höher aufgelöst, ne? Immer noch genauso helles Licht draußen. Ja, war gut. Da sind Dinge. So. Ja, mal ein bisschen weiter. Montag sind immer noch Käse. Großaufnahme. Hä? Bei den da schön ist. Dann gehen wir weiter. Hallo. England. Blub. Na, was haben wir denn da Feines? Quartalszahlen ist ja nicht so gut. Irgendwo geht's da hoch und dann geht's runter und dann hat irgendjemand was dahin gemalt mit einem sehr bösen Gesicht. Nichts.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay. Hallo. 13. Das ist ein schönes Büro. Ali. Und tralala. Rings oder rechts, ja. Oh, Blechung.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Nichts los hier. Was ist das denn? Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager. Aha. Was haben wir denn hier? Meeting Room. Meeting set schedule. Weekly targets, admin. Marketing Mondays. Marketing Monday. Was haben wir heute? Mittwoch. IT Department war heute. We are broke Wednesday. Prost Mahlzeit. Financial Panic Meeting. Okay. Boss Inspection ist auch nicht besser. Gruppe 42X, Gruppe 47X, 8 Bird. 8 Bird? Okay. Marketing Monday nochmal, irgendwas ist legal am Dienstag. Legal. Ja, oder Rechtszeug vielleicht. Krams und so. Ähm, und da ist irgendwas zu klein. Da. Termination Tuesdays. Office Affection. Okay. Thursday Mergers. Ideen und Development und wieder die Gruppen und Pre-Review of Week Review. Okay. Freitag, Weekly Review. Ah, okay. Äh, äh, was? Pranking Floor 5 Meeting? Das will ich auch, finde ich gut. Verarschen sich da gegenseitig. What to do about 432? Doesn't tell 432 about me meeting. Office Party. Wo ist ein 432? Okay. EU? 432, ne? 432. Morgen complete today's unfinished agenda items. Write next day's agenda. Okay. Employee. Was macht die andauernd? Klack. Ach, das ist der wechselt automatisch durch. Not efficient, nicht effizient. Standardize Glyphs. Push for founding for RD of new coffee machine. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. Was? Ich krieg Kopfschmerzen. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Wie meinen Sie das jetzt? Synergize papers? Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are to synergized. Was? Fire paper guy? Hire somebody to fire the papers? Synergizing guy? Who moved my desk? Please keep the targets on the topic. Das ist halt bescheuert. Oh Gott. Was haben wir denn hier? Report? Wie waren wir schon mal besser? The synergies of global value, the synergizing of core global value Partygrams. Guck mal, da wird immer alles schlechter. Schreiben blaue Zahlen, ja. Voll. Nur weil die schwarze Tinte alle ist und wir uns keine neue mehr leisten können. Die rote auch. Zweimal Quartal die Dinge sich Post-Review. We need less reviews. 402 und 405 want to get rid of the death spot portion in the primary review schedule. But I think that's a stupid idea. More water coolers, more water heaters. Charts need to be more flip to appear to hip to appear to a teenage demographic. Find teenagers to put in teenage demographic. Big net, some sort of child trap? Was? Teenagers, size of demographic, space between teenagers, a lot of percent. Throw something in the ideas bin. 10, no more bins. Trash cans. 20 remaining the idea on. 30 ne, firing of, okay. Better safe than profits. Business Club, Rule 1. Parent or not all they are racked up to be. Ja, ist du Scheiße. Wir kommen hier nie wieder aus diesem Raum raus. What do people want? Things. Violet James, you are fired. Was wollte er denn da sagen? Happy feelings. Das wollen wir, will man nicht hören. Money? More money. Things, but with money to buy more things. Graphs. Graphs about things and money. We have our new product. The stock market is somewhere here. Colored in segment. Stripes. Yeah, stripes. Required more secondary research. What is hot? Target demographic teenagers. Profit. Telephone Directory. Die suchen wirklich Teenager. Sehr verzweifelt. Kommen hier nie wieder raus. To do. Synergize. Core Value X. Shift Global Market Paradigm. Monetize Free to Play. Quarterly Pie Chart Profits. Was ist das denn? Pie Charts. Ist der nicht doof? I see Charts. Help, I'm Hilfe, ich bin ein Post-it. Okay. Irgendwie, die haben ja nur, guck mal, kistenweise diese komischen, diese Dinger hier, diese Pie-Charts. Let it ball up inside, was? Okay. Using slides to assume employee that everything is okay. Make sure your slide is a slick blue graphic in the header. Employee is unique. You most of all. Ah, schön, ja, okay. Everyone. Number of slides on this slide. Charts, slide with slides. Sag mal, seid ihr bescheuert? Das ist Marketing hier. Das ist... Your boss appreciates when workers circle to 20 things you love most about your boss. Aha. Geht alles so schnell. What are your dreams for the future? Plant life, less air. Less air? Pollution? Tips for not getting fired. Weniger reden. Do unbelievably amazing work. All the time, every day with no expectation of promotion, no record. Okay. Okay. Die reden hier die ganze Zeit nur über Graphen und Pie-Charts und Kurven und sowas. Mehr machen die nicht. Hallo. Broom, broom. Ist da Autos drin?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Okay. Vielleicht doch hier was. Was ist das denn? Ist das eine Zange?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Ja, ich will doch nochmal gucken, was wir da haben. Was ist das denn? Ist das so ein Tacker, ne? Noch ein paar Rohrzangen und so. Und hier Duct Tape.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way.
Ja.
As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Ich will doch nur gucken. Boah, das ist eine Rohrzange. So Kabelzeug hier. Das ist der Broom.
Are you Are you really still in the broom
Ja,
closet?
lass mich doch mal
Standing
gucken.
around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Ja, ich würde das hier, das zum Reinigen, ne? Kennt man ja für den Mob und so. Alte Dings da zum
You
Unterlegen.
do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out.
Ja,
But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
ich will noch mal gucken. Ist ein Schlauch, geh mal von aus. Ne? Keine große Dichtung oder sowas zum Abschneiden.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite."
Das ist,
I hope
du
your
kennst die
friends
You
find
nicht.
this concerning.
Ja, da mach ich mir jetzt schon ganz viele Gedanken die ganze Zeit über. Aber das ist sowas, was...
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid.
Ey.
He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Okay. Ich will noch mal gucken. Ist da irgendwas drin in den Dingern? Die Dinger sehen auch überall gleich aus. Wo man, beste Beispiel, wie du eine Firma nicht führen solltest, ja. Haben wir denn da? Noch eine Zange? Da oben ist noch was drin? Vielleicht ein Pinsel oder so? Einfallspinsel vielleicht. Warum hat das denn hier eigentlich keiner mal gestrichen oder so? Das ist wieder nur eine Abstellkammer. Das wird immer so lieblos. Wird sich immer viel rumgeknutscht. So. So. Oder anders Zeug drin gemacht. Auch mal alleine oder so. Weiß ich nicht. Geweint. Hier so in der Ecke. Hatschu! Da kann man doch zumindest mal hier ein bisschen Kabel überstreichen oder so. Ein bisschen weiß, damit es ein bisschen heller ist. Ein bisschen Anstand haben, vielleicht. Aber nein, der wird nur gespart. Da hängt auch nur so eine Glühbirne an so einem Draht raus. Kann nichts interagieren mit, kann ich nicht den Besen benutzen. Ja, der alte Besen. Ne, das ist, wenn die Schwiegermutter wiederkommt, da ist der alte Besen schon wieder. Ich kenne nur Abstand. In Corona-Zeiten geht nur Abstand. Alles anfassen. Kann ich auch nicht, ne? Nee. Ich finde schön, wie dich das Ticken der Uhr genervt hat, aber nicht die Birne da. Oh. Und die Welt, sie dreht sich. Niu, niu. Bin mir schwindlig. Mir wirklich schwindelig. Ah, kennst du mich aber schlecht? Ich hätte die Tür wieder zumachen. Halt die Tür zu. Guck mal, das war's. Spiel zu Ende. Escape Room. Escape Room, was kann ich denn hier machen? Wie kommen wir hier raus? Einen Schlüssel brauchen wir nicht. Da gibt es keinen Schlüssel. Wir können aber, da können wir das Zeug reinmachen, was wir schon durchsucht haben. Und, ist irgendwo ein Token da unten bestimmt. So ganz viele Sachen. Vielleicht, irgendwie kann ich die auch nicht annehmen. Ich brauche da, es ist sicher 2 Spieler gedacht hier. Da komme ich nicht so weiter. Mal ganz genau umgucken hier. Escape Room Spiele sind ja immer sehr anspruchsvoll. Habe ich gehört. Wo ist denn der Stanbird? Ich weiß es nicht, egal. Jo. Wollen wir noch ein bisschen hier bleiben? So ein bisschen hier, so ist gemütlich auf der Pappe? Pappemuse? Oder wollen wir raus? Ja. Aber eigentlich ist es doch schön hier. Ich meine, das muss man ja auch mal zu schätzen wissen. So ein Räumchen. Hier, da ist ja viel, viel Arbeit und Liebe drin. Also reingesteckt worden. Also nicht nur vielleicht von irgendwelchen heimlichen Liebschaften. 8. Was? Wie 8? Steuert? Gespinnt. You ist auch einfach nur mit dem Gesicht auf die Tastatur geknallt gerade. Das war zu anstrengend, der Stream heute Mittag wieder. Ich wusste es gleich. War schon so am Keuchen. Nicht genug getrunken wahrscheinlich. Das wird der Sauerstoffmangel und zu wenig getrunken. Ja, bestimmt. Mit der Nase halt so drauf. Boing. Mit der Knollnase. So. Plömp. Dann bist du stecken geblieben. Da, da kommst du nicht mehr raus. Jetzt hängst du da so und schielst da so hoch und versuchst versuchst den Chat zu lesen und noch mit der Zunge zu tippen. Ich habe vorher noch abgewaschen, jetzt habe ich Rücken. Hast du keine, wenn du keinen Rücken hättest, hättest du auch kein Rückgrat. Das bist doch das Rückgrat des Streams hier. Ohne dich passiert hier doch nichts. Ne? Da würden wir hier die ganze Zeit nur das Spiel spielen und seit einer Viertelstunde hier im Besenkammer hängen. Haben wir Glück gehabt, wa? Eigentlich gefällt es mir hier ganz... Je länger ich hier bleibe, mehr gefällt es mir. Kann man schon mal gemütlich... sich ein bisschen gemütlich machen. Hier, so ein bisschen Ringel reinspielen. Nee, die Demo habe ich nie gespielt. Ich habe immer nur das volle Spiel gespielt und jetzt das übervolle Spiel. Die haben sich aber auch ein bisschen... Haben sie halt nochmal ein paar neue Texturen spendieren können, oder die Löcher sind hier schon so ein bisschen rostig, vielleicht. Wollen wir denn weitergehen? Ich frage mal so in die Runde. Ich frage für einen Freund. Lichtschalter gibt es ja auch nicht. Da gibt es einen Raum mit einem Kopf, auf dem eine 8 drauf ist. Darum 8. Ja, ich gebe 8. Und vielleicht sogar 9. Aber eher 7 bis 6. Oder vielleicht auch nur 5. Vielleicht gibt es auch gleich einen auf die 9, wenn ich hier nicht gleich rausgehe. Ich weiß es nicht. Wollen wir raus? Diese Welt da draußen, sie ist so feindselig. Außerdem, Ist das schon spät? Gehen kleine Angestellte nicht mehr raus? Ja, man kann mal ein bisschen Wind machen. Schön. Bin ich aber nicht. Geh mal raus.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Schön. Der Sprecher hat auch die Schnauze voll. Inzwischen. Ich kann es ihm auch nicht verdenken. Ju ist auch schon weg. Die ist nicht mehr da. Hat da so ein Vogel? Diese Tippvögelchen da. Ne? Drückt jetzt immer auf 8. So. Und schickt dann los. Ju ist schon längst weg. Broom, broom.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, geh mal hoch. Hoppa, hoppa, reite. Ist aber hell hier. Meine Güte, wo ist denn der Chef? Chefchen. Hallo. Ah, hier ganz oben natürlich. Ui, der hat aber schick. Was ist das denn? Badezimmer. Soll ich mir halt mal mich hinsetzen und vielleicht mal warten oder so? Geh mal zu. Du hast doch Heizung, aber er hat's ja offensichtlich. Ist aber schon alles vertefelt hier. Und hat einen Teppich an der Wand. Sieht jedenfalls so aus, als wäre es sehr flauschig. Hallo. Was denn? Die beigen Seiten. Da ist schon vergilbt. Ein bisschen. Was mal hier denn? Business Time. Die Tapete sieht aus wie eine aus The Sims, nur ist das Holz schön. Ja, da geht's auch wieder runter. Guck mal. Zweimal Telefone und ganz viele Leitungen. Das ist fast so lang wie meine. Aber ich finde das schön, dass wir alle noch die alten Monitore haben. Macht mich sehr glücklich im Herzen. Oh, guck mal, der schöne Ledersessel hier. Weiter. Chefchen. Hi.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Schade. Das ist natürlich ungünstig. Oh, the shadow. The shadow.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Ist ja nur. Woher soll ich das dann auch wissen? Wer ist das denn? Familie vom Chef? Oder ist das die Familie, die immer...
2845.
Ja, okay. Ist das die Familie, die man mitkauft, wenn man den Bilderrahmen kauft, quasi? Spielt's nicht. Ist nicht mal gestimmt. Ich bin verstimmt.
For God... But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Wo? Da? Okay, geht auch ohne. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich das will. Ich kann nicht einmal wieder zurückgehen. Ach, kann er da? Vielleicht? Frau und Kinder vielleicht, ja. So. Und viele alte Bücher. Und ein Klavier. Bis Klavier 5. Schauen wir uns mal an. Hallo. Hallo. Warum? Okay. Warum lande ich eigentlich immer ständig in allen Spielen hinter den Kulissen? Das ist ein Muster zu erkennen, glaube ich. Sehr dunkel im Schatten. Muss ich da jetzt runter? Ah. Ich hatte gerade Angst, dass da kein Boden ist. Also im Stream zumindest nicht, aber sonst habe ich schon ein paar Mal durchgespielt. 1 und 2. Drück mal auf den Knopf. Oh. Wie ganz schön geladen.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay. Ah! Runter?
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up.
Okay.
Silly me.
Wusste nicht, dass es
Why
geht.
did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Ich mag die Ladezone so gerne. Schön, gemütlich hier. AJ, hi. Na? Kleiner Mann, ganz groß. Wie
Here we
geht's
are,
dir?
Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow!
Ist leicht
I'm
ungehalten.
bolted to the edge of my seat.
Der Erzähler ist leicht ungehalten. Also immer machen, was der Erzähler sagt. Das ist klein, du bist natürlich nicht klein, ne? Also ist ja Quatsch, natürlich. Das ist die Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Ist heute rausgekommen. Stanley Parable ist schon viele Jahre auf dem Markt. Und jetzt haben sie eine Erweiterung quasi dafür raus. Das Spiel erweitert. Ich bin sehr gespannt. Das Spiel spielt quasi mit dem Spieler selber und spielt mit den Erwartungen, die man an ein Computerspiel hat und veräppelt einen permanent. Gerade beim MMA-Training und MMA, was ist MMA? Was ist MMA? Ich weiß, ich komme da gerade nicht hinterher. Massive Multiplayer analog, nicht. Der Daus. Ich sag nie wieder was Schlimmes gegen. Ich sag, du bist also hier der AJ, ne? Der ist ein ganz, ganz schöner, starker und schnuckliger, ne? Also der ist schon einer, ne? Versteht er? versteht er. Äh, guckt mal, der macht auch ganz tolle Streams, ne? Also der spielt so meine Kraft und deine Kraft. Und seine Kraft ist natürlich viel größer als meine. Und deshalb gehe ich hier einfach weiter und spiele das Spiel und sonst laber ich mich noch um den Kopf und andere Dinge. Ne? Ich drücke ihm auf den Knopf und
Incredible.
weiter.
Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Was wohl passiert, wenn ich jetzt wieder hochfahre? War das nicht eben was anderes hier?
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Mir zu komisch. Ich gehe da hoch.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time?
Jawohl!
The suspense is killing me.
Endlich wieder das Office. Ich hab's schon vermisst. Riecht das immer so streng nach altem Zigarrenqualm und so.
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a timeout here for a minute while I process this.
Das Ding, was ich eben meinte.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm
I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Hi, Freit. Das dauert noch ein bisschen heute. Also macht euch mal einen Tee oder so. So schnell kommen wir hier nicht weg.
All right, I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Ja? Und nur? Das ist der Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Die haben das erweitert. Also, dass das ganze Spiel anscheinend überarbeitet. Am Anfang wurde ich auch schon gefragt, ob ich das Spiel schon gespielt habe. Und ich bin sehr gespannt, was da passiert jetzt. Also, Neko habe ich schon vergrault, weil die will das auch spielen. Da hat sie gesagt, nee, du bist blöd, Gosa, du bist ein Pupsgesicht und ich mag dich nicht. Und dann ist sie weggegangen und hat so und hat so ihr langes, blondes Haar so hinter sich geworfen und ist mit ihrem langen, wehenden Kleid davon gestaxelt in ihren roten, hochhackigen Schüchen. Man kennt's. Okay, ja, Freit, wenn Neko nicht da ist, will Freit mit mir auch nicht reden. Das ist normal. Bin ich ja gewohnt. In meinen Stream kommen die Leute immer nur kurz rein, fragen, ist denn die Neko da? Dann sag ich, ja, die war mal kurz da, ist aber wieder weg. Okay. Und dann höre ich sie nicht mehr. Wo gehen wir denn jetzt mal hin? Ist ja You sowieso. Dann gehen wir mal runter.
Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Ich sehe es förmlich vor mir. Und dann schmunzelt er so in seinen Bart rein, der Schlingel. In seinen viel zu schön gepflegten, lockigen Männerbart. Ich gehe nochmal hoch. Bin mir unsicher.
You know what?
Was denn?
I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
Ja.
Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
Jawohl, so will ich das
There
haben.
we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? Yes, Stanley. It seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible.
Ja, furchtbar,
They want
furchtbar.
big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started.
Die Jugend
But where's the
heutzutage.
tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Stanley, live on stage. All eyes on Stanley. Finde ich gut. Gefällt mir. Ist er lang? Nö. Kann man nicht mehr. Kann man nicht mehr. Zurück. Eine Tasche. Roter Teppich für uns. Schön. Hoch. Eine Rede. World's healthiest human being, or all tricks revealed. How we did it. The pyramids, the guy who went to Mars. Live. Okay. Was ist denn hier? The storyteller, Stanley reveals all in his new book. Okay. Das, schön. Ich hätte gern so ein Poster. Lala. So. Was denn hier? An Evening with World Peace Baby. Okay. Das ist aber eine sehr seltsame Veranstaltung. The Stanley Parable, Stanley, tonight, live on stage. Stage door.
Ah, yes, here it is,
Nee.
just through this door.
Da ist das. Was denn? Ich würde gern dahin. So, da. Stanley. From the Stanley Parable. The man, the process, the myth, the legend, the parable. Hier ist doch. Hier steht hier Stage Door? Ja, so. The Q&A with world's first sentient machine. Okay. Das ist wie von Tony Stark, ne? Das hier Das Ärmchen da aus dem Iron Man Film. Hallo. Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry. You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Schnapp ihn dir, Tiger. Ja, wo geht's lang? National Geographic. Indoors Monthly. Das bräuchte ich auch. Die Zeitung. Ich fühle mich beobachtet bei der Tapete irgendwie. 427. Congratulations, Stanley. Remember where you came from. Your coworkers. Das erinnert mich an das eine perfekte Ende da. Haben wir den hier? Ist das die Rückseite von dem Buch? Sorry, Stanley, me, dad. Dad. Break a leg, champ, your boss. Stanley, my true love for you grows every day. You make me feel alive. Your wife from the apartment ending. No one tells stories the way you do. Go get him, Tiger. Das ist Mary Jane bestimmt. Thanks for showing me that cool skateboard trick in the parking lot. You are too cool. Good luck on stage. Rock on. I love the way you ride elevators. Das ist von You. Der Brief ist von You in der Mitte. Da kannst du mir doch nichts erzählen. Da ist eine 8. Da ist eine 8. The dude who came up with pizza. Ich will auch gerne mal kennenlernen. Pizzamann. Da kennst du den Pizzamann. Ja, nur? Aber drücken kann ich nichts. Wir gehen mal hoch. Up. Up again, down again. The Stanley Parable. Hoch. The Lord. Kann ich so schlecht lesen? Meet the Lord. Featured Keynote Speaker. Okay. Meet and Greet. Mein Gott. Im wahrsten Sinne des Wortes. So. Krass, soll ich da wirklich reingehen? Oh, ich bin so aufgeregt. Hi. Äh. 427. Nein! Nein! Was soll das denn jetzt? Hallo?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Jetzt bin ich aber skeptisch. Okay.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Okay. Aber ich kann ja da, dann kann ich auch die Dinger ausmachen, oder? Ist hier noch irgendwie... Ich habe das Gefühl, dass mich noch irgendwo anders draufdrücken, aber passiert nichts. Hier 3, 2. Ja, aber 4, 3, 2 ist hier doch, ist hier nicht auf der Ecke. Ja. Der ist schon weg. Hier ist schon. Der ist schon gegangen worden. Guck mal. Der ist schon weg.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Land? Oder irgendjemand anders vielleicht? Links oder rechts? Und rechts und links zählt nicht. Was meint ihr? Links oder rechts, rechts oder links?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Das ist dieses Entspannungsgeräusch. Ohne das kann ich schon gar nicht mehr schlafen. Grabbel, 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 grabbel. Mal ein bisschen Luft hier. Guck mal, ein bisschen Luft im Gang. Ui, ja, geht mal ein bisschen Wind hier in die Gänge. Neuen Wind in die Firma bringen hier.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Gehen wir erstmal hoch. Tun wir erstmal das, was er so sagt.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Überwachungskameras oben.
What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ich will eigentlich auch so einen Eingang haben. Finde ich ziemlich cool. Hallo. Das ist immer wieder die Geschichte schon wieder. Der Aufzug ist relativ schnell. Oder kommt mir das nur so vor, weil der vorher so langsam war? Du bist langsam, Rosa. Ah? Ich will nur mal gucken, was er sagt.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Gegenden hier da eigentlich. Aber warum? Wir waren schon mal unten.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Was war nochmal die Kombination? Ich will nur mal gucken, ob wir die Kombination nochmal eingeben können. Ob dann wieder was passiert. « 2845 haben wir gerade gemacht schon, oder? War's das? Okay. Schade. Schade, schade. Dann drücke ich auf den Knopf. Hallo.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Ja, ein Naturtalent.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Nein, ich gehe jetzt wieder unten hin. Keine Angst. Nicht gleich wieder schimpfen hier. Was denn?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
SKP. Tralala, tralali und tralala. Aha, Mind Control. Mind, wie singt und lacht. Was denn?
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Sehr eingängig.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. But railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
Das wünsche ich mir jetzt bei Beat Saber als nächstes Mal. Ich wollte ja gar nicht runterspringen. Aber,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
wir waren echt nur durch Zufall da runter.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Kennen wir alle schon. Alter Hut. Alter Hut.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Schade, eigentlich. Hast du da wieder heimlich... Die hat heimlich gespielt? Stimmt.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ja, bla bla.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Irritiert mich jedes Mal wieder. Ich habe das Gefühl, es müsste hier was sein. Hallo?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay. Ja, diesmal machen wir den Quatsch nicht mit runterhüppen. Hab ich beim anderen nie gemacht. Hier so, ja, oh Gott, oh Gott. Ich hab grad voll den Schrecken gekriegt, wo ich da runtergeknallt bin. Wollte eigentlich nur gucken, was da drauf steht. Nein.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Nö. Oder vielleicht doch. Wie in Matrix auch der Raum, ne? Hey! Was haben wir hier denn Feines? Kisten. Dauert Angst, ich will es. Employee Observer Protocol. Dinger gibt's. Was ist das? Sudoku für Fortgeschrittene? Das ist ein Licht unten. Urgent. Employee. Irgendwas. Plump.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Wo ist denn 4? Was war das? 300? Was war denn der andere nochmal? 432? Dankeschön. 4, 3. Da unten, da ist der leere. Okay, ist aber noch nicht gefeuert. Da oben ist irgendein Monitor kaputt und der wurde gefeuert. Da wird auch wer gefeuert. 528, dem geht's auch gut. Mensch im Kasten nach oben.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Das geht runter.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Doch nicht.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay. Aber wie? Lieber Heinrich. Wie? Schade. Das ist so dunkel. Okay, gehen wir mal hinter, was? 5. Der Raum ist gruselig.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Oh, guck mal, alte Computer noch mit so einem Band drin. Oh.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine! Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oh, schön. Nö. Schlage das Spiel. Errungenschaft freigeschaltet. Schön. Es wird etwas repetitiv, wiederholt sich.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Was machen wir heute? Leute, welchen Weg gehen wir denn als nächstes? Wo sollen wir hin? Sie hat sich gerade erledigt, die Frage.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Da kann ich lang. Gemein. Wenigstens ist der gekennzeichnet. Würden sind genauso Käse. Hallo? Hallo? Wir kommen hier wie in Half-Life vor. Hallo? Oder...
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Ich aber auch. Gibt's noch einen zweiten Abstellkammer?
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Auch genauso unfähig. Unfertig.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Ah, ich freue mich.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Hallo. Wände sind höher. Okay.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle. Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Hallo? Okay.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Renoviert. Renoviert.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Wieder von vorne. Und gebetet. Toll. Hä? Jo? Was ist jetzt los? Okay.
Psst! Stanley!
Ja?
Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay. Verwendet. Hallo? Runter? Geronimo. Aua. Ich mach mal die Kamera gerade mal ein bisschen. Die darf ruhig ein bisschen heller. Weiter. Alles ganz normal.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay. Was? Ui. Elden Ring. Mit Büroartikeln. Mensch, da werden sich Leute ja freuen.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Memory Zone. Das ist ein Stanley Parable Museum. Ein Bienchen. Schöne Gegend.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Okay. BAFTA Award. So. Er hat natürlich nicht Stanley Parable gekriegt, aber The Last of Us anscheinend. Aber man kann es ja schnell mal drüber kleben. Was denn? Ach, guck mal hier. Bei Steam. Ah, 2013, wenn es denn. Das will ich haben als gerahmtes Bild. Zone, Sweet Zone. Geht nicht. Dann passt ja wieder. The Stanley Parable. The Original Remake. Firefox. Linguists identify a 15,000-year-old ultra-conserved word, the Washington Post. Researchers identified 2,000 birth hosts. Aha. 6 components of a great corporate culture, John Coleman Award. Oh, Karten. I remember the memory zone temp. Our kiss, my first car, okay. Gute Zeiten. Smile because it happened. A trip down memory lane. Oh, das ist mit dem Soundtrack. Bits of Music, stimmt, die gab's auch noch. Okay. Viel Geld. The Standard, die Demo, da ist die Demo, von der du gesprochen hast. Hier ist ja gleich dein Knopf bestimmt. The Stanley Parable Alpha Test. Don't play for... Oh Gott, ja, ja, schön. The BAFTA Award hier, Nominee British. Stanley Parable. New video game releasing today. Ja, toll. Creator surprisingly down to earth. College show uneven afford to enroll poor. 50% off von Hüte. Cool. Los Angeles Stanley Parable deals tough choices. Oh. Beta working in progress. Aber den Knopf habe ich nicht gefunden. AJ, alles Gute dir, ne? Pass auf dich auf, bleib gesund und mach dir eine schöne Zeit. Bis bald. So, was haben wir denn hier noch Feines? Der AJ weg. Mein Leben hat keinen Sinn mehr. So. Oh. Da. Little Stanley ist ein Hamster. Guck mal, you. Hamsterli. Schöne Ecke hier.
Je suis dans la memory zone, pris des vélos et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like the
Nice.
stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com.
Entschuldigung.
James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Scheiße, ich wollte, dass das Lied... Ich wusste nicht, dass das Lied hier aufhört. Aber der Raum ist schön. Klatsch. Naja, feuerfest ist es ja hier. Gefällt mir, aber ich finde, so einen Raum will ich auch haben. Ärgere ich mich aber, dass das Lied nicht mehr, dass ich da nicht draußen stehen geblieben bin. Wer weiß, was da noch passiert wäre. Ich hätte da gerne... Ach, komm mal beim nächsten Durchlauf vielleicht nochmal gucken. Komm mal hier rein. Tasteful Nostalgica. Guck mal, da ist die Linie. Die gelbe, die kenne ich noch. Hä? Okay. Bin irritiert. Moment mal. Moment mal. Das ist gar nicht alles aus Stanley Parable. Das ist doch Schmuh. Ist doch Schmuh. Die zwei Türen, ja, auch bekannt. I remember top 10 memories from the Stanley Parable. Da sind Knöpfe, aber zumindest, aber nicht der, die you meint. Person of the Year. Oh, hier vom Erstellen, guck mal. Ach, guck mal. Figürchen. Ich würde ja unten hingehen, aber ich will erstmal den offiziellen Weg gehen. Knöpfe. The end is never the end. Ja, ja. The great... Achso. Oh. Das ist dann eher auf dem iMac dann die Version. Okay. Verschiedene Türen. Collectors Edition. Verschiedene Knöpfe, ein Happy-Knopf. Your number ist 29, okay. Steht alles davor. Nicht lang.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Oh. The Serious Room? Aha. Würde mich mal interessieren, wie der sich da hin Fahrrad. Okay. Hm. So, ja, die Sachen kenne ich auch noch von früher. Und nu? Da geht's nicht rein.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Ja, nur? In den Keller oder was? Okay. Ja, hier geht's ja nicht, da würde ich gerne hin, aber... Und raus kommen wir auch nicht zu dem schönen französischen Chanson, da ist offen.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Ich guck mal. Diese angenehmen Geräusche. Das kenne ich, die Dosen, die immer größer werden. Naja. Oh. Was zum Fick?
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing well, weren't they?
Steam-Reviews sind auf mal gar nie... Das ist schwierig. Steam-Reviews sind manchmal schwierig. Ja, ich will mich hier erstmal umgucken. Wie YouTube-Kommentare oder ganz Twitter. Oh. Oh, mich würde ja interessieren, ob das echte Dinger sind.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Okay. Was ist das jetzt für ein Spiel? Das ist echt nicht mehr die Stanley Parable, die ich kenne. Gott. Ich dachte, da haben sie so ein paar neue Sachen noch reingemacht, aber nicht sowas. Die 8 wieder. Das ist eine schwierige Zahl. Nein, können wir nicht. Und wenn, würde ich es nicht tun. Ich habe aber Angst, dass das wirklich passieren könnte. Wieder negative Reviews. Ist hier irgendwo Half-Life 3 drin? Oder so? Ich hätte gern Half-Life 3. Ah. Hallo.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Ich fand dich immer gut. Auch wenn ich mich langsam ein bisschen unwohl fühle. Hier. Ein bisschen creepy. Immer mehr Reviews. Ich irgendwie hin? Nee. 8. Irgendwer wird immer meckern, egal was man auch tut, ob man schlecht ist oder gut. Irgendwer wird immer meckern. Die ist in, für alle, die zuschauen, die ist in 3 Minuten, ist sie wieder da, wenn das Lied durch ist. Also, wie man halt so da sein kann, in ihrem Fall. Was haben wir denn hier?
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Braucht keinen Skip-Button. Ist das auch ein Lied oder ist das eine Aussage von dir? 8. Will aber nicht. Denn hier? Bin ich hoch. Haben wir mehr von erhofft. Ja, ist ja gut.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say,
the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday,
Ist das
here and
dasselbe
there,
oder
forward and back,
betont
and
er
never
es
a moment
etwas
before
anders?
lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic
Ja,
of
aber ich find's
elimination
ganz
working
gut.
backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's
Ja,
the
nicht zum
only
Mittagessen.
thing there is. How many billions left
Warte
until
mal,
so
hinsetzen.
much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have
Das
you,
müsste ich
and
eigentlich
therefore,
mal,
by
also
becoming
Story
it is,
and the
so on and so
choices,
forth,
also-
until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah.
Also bis zu
blah,
diesem
blah, blah.
Blabla-Text
We've
finde ich
eaten
den
too much and
echt
it can't be
richtig
just
gut
yet,
und möchte ihn mal auswendig lernen
until
oder so.
245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years,
Ja, ich frag
until
mich das
just
auch gerade, ob er dann
yesterday, here
irgendwann
and there,
aufhört.
forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than
Schauen wir
forever
mal, was
ago?
passiert noch
Which
ein
is why
bisschen.
I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be.
Geht die
It's
Zeit
the
überhaupt
only
vorbei?
thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices,
Ja, ich glaub,
or
da-
what have you, and therefore by
da kommt
becoming it is,
vielleicht
so on and so
nichts
forth,
mehr.
until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once, that you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. 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 Treatise,
Ich bin mal so mutig und behaupte, dass der Moment, wo man draufdrücken soll.
Manifesto. Treatise, 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 manifesto.
Oder ist irgendwo was passiert? Ist
manifesto.
Da irgendwo hinter irgendwas aufgegangen oder irgendwas passiert?
Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial, something along the lines of, "This game is the best game." Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect.
Na, habt ihr auch so einen schönen
It's the
Abend wie
perfect
ich?
review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful. I have to experience this just one more time. From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary
Ich
step
gehe davon
forward in
aus,
the
dass
lineage
keiner
of one
was
of the most beloved
dagegen
video
hat, wenn
game
ich gerade mal auf den
properties of all
Skip-Button
time.
drücke,
The
oder?
additions and changes made to this expansion will
Der
surely
möge jetzt
resonate in the
reden
annals
oder
of the
für
history
immer
of all
schweigen.
media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted,
Oder wollt ihr es
offering
auch
a
noch
message of
einmal
hope
hören?
to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most
Ich gehe
ambitious
mal davon
visions
aus, dass
for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful. I have to experience this. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort. Window or something like that? Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
Ja, Use verstanden macht auch Winke Winke. Ne, ist ja nicht mehr so viel da, vielleicht. Bei mir auch nicht mehr. Rosa, ja? Ja? Was denn? Wollen wir auf den Skip-Button drücken, oder was? Nein. Nie drüber nachgedacht. Niemals drüber nachgedacht. Hab mich noch gar nicht mit beschäftigt damit. Ich weiß gar nicht richtig, was das ist. Wollen wir jetzt eigentlich noch ein bisschen warten, oder? Das ist schön. Das ist schön. Jetzt muss ich mir das schon runterladen, oder was? Darf ich nicht auch bei unserer Unterhaltung den Skip-Button drücken? Vielleicht? Hier ist keine Tür mehr. Ich kann es mir ja mal angucken. Sollen wir drücken mal, ne? Ich weiß ja auch nicht, wie
Stanley!
Yeah?
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, I know you too well. You'll be leaving me. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to
Wie lange
again.
denn?
Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges
Ich
of
freue
my
mich schon auf
reality
Nikos Reaktion
curdling
hierbei.
inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed.
Bester
I
Stream
feel
ever.
restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it, to think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
Ja, wieder langsam ein bisschen anstrengend. Also letztes Mal waren wir eine Woche weg. Jo. Dann wollen wir mal schauen.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much
Wie viel
time.
denn?
I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year?
Oh.
Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time.
Batterie ist auch alle.
Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible, the spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Ich drücke auf den Knopf, ne? Ja, ich drück mal drauf, ne? Oder irgendwelche Einwände noch? Wo, weiß ich nicht. Keine Ahnung. Verarscht mich auch gerade, ne? Da haben wir schon ein paar Mal nachgeguckt. Und jetzt auch schon. Rosa, mach doch nochmal denselben Quatsch, den du schon 10-mal gemacht hast. Ja, aber der ist ja, sagt ja gerade gar nichts. Der ist der große Till Schweiger macht er jetzt. Hallo? Hallo? Ja, ein Zug draußen. Hier passiert nichts mehr. Tüt. Hallo? Das ist ein latente... Batterie ist alle. 10 Jahre Garantie. Hier ist auch nichts. Das ist mir aber nervig. Ich gehe mal davon aus, dass du nichts mehr dagegen hast. Wenn ich jetzt einfach weitermache, ne? Ja, hier ist alles.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, We require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think. To feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world, as though there were no consequences for a...
Was? Irgendwo tropft's raus? Ah, tropft Wasser irgendwo. Ja, ja, ja. Es wird, wir überspringen, glaube ich, sehr viel Zeit. Ne? So wie bei Portal 2. Weil der steht immer noch da. Bin gespannt, ob beim nächsten Zeitsprung noch mehr tropft. Drücken wir mal auf den Knopf.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end,
Oh nein.
end, is never the 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 end,
Weil ist ja alles voll Wasser.
the end, is never 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 the end.
Ich glaube, hier passiert irgendwann ein Unglück. Warum hilft uns denn auch keiner? Wie viele Jahre wohl schon vergangen sind? Ist irgendwann eine Apokalypse passiert vielleicht? Das Ende ist nah. Ganz schön windig draußen. Bäumchen ist auch mal gewesen. Da liegt es rum. Ja, auf jeden Fall. Dann drücke ich mal auf den Knopf. Die kann man überspringen, da habe ich keine Lust drauf. Das wird jetzt aber langsam. Ich kriege hier Portal-Vibes langsam. Händchen. Hallo. Was wir jetzt wohl für ein Jahr haben? Wir können gar nichts aufheben. Die gehört hier rein. Die muss hier in dieser Abteilung bleiben. Ist die Abteilungsleiter. Da haben wir nichts mit zu tun. Drück nochmal drauf. Bitte. Oh. Und so holt sich die Natur alles wieder. Sind wir wirklich gleich bei Last of Us oder irgendwie sowas? Oder bei du meinst, das ist die Portal Test Facility hier von Aperture Science? Nur so halt ein bisschen höher. Haben wir hier Schmetterlinge? Aber Vogel haben wir. Der Wunder, der Sprecher hat die Schnauze voll. Oh Gott, wie lange waren wir denn weg jetzt? Ja, das ist. Wie lange waren wir denn jetzt weg? Hör auf mich zu beleidigen. Sei mal ein bisschen. Ich glaube, wir sind viele Jahre später wieder hier. Kann das sein? Ja, aber dann wäre doch zumindest irgendwas übrig. Winter geht doch nicht alles so spurlos zu Sand. Bin irritiert. Äh. Okay. Ich, egal was es ist, ich will's nicht wissen. Gut. Ich will was anderes haben. Oh. Warte mal, hier ist irgendwie schief. Ist alles weg. Es existiert nichts mehr. Mal den Knopf drücken. Den kann man nicht mehr drücken. Hoch. Äh. Was jetzt? Eben müssen wir noch was trinken hier. Meine Güte. Sollen wir noch mal rausgehen?
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
427, doch. Alles gut? Sollen wir da rein? Wer weiß, was da wieder kommt. Wer weiß, was da wieder kommt.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Ja, ja. Ich weiß nicht, wie lange das dauert. Das machen wir beim nächsten Mal. Das machen wir beim nächsten Mal. Die Laberorgie hat mir jetzt erstmal gereicht. Wir machen beim nächsten Mal weiter. Wir machen beim nächsten Mal weiter.